Hey guys, welcome back to Man Time. This episode, I'm actually working on an electric motor that I found off in the woods, laying in the dirt. Been there for God knows how many years. I didn't film the first part of the disassembly because I just figured it wasn't worth filming. It probably wasn't going to work anyway, so why start something and then have nowhere to go? Well, it looks like the opposite may be true. It looks like I didn't start it, and now it looks like it could be finished, and it could be a good running motor. I've got an antique standalone, like a 4x24 belt sander used for a grinder, and I think this motor might work out for it. So let's get into it. I'm going to show you the motor, and then I'll show you the grinder. Alright, so here's what we got. We got an old Century, and it is an A66 frame. I found it laying in the woods next to an old glass top. I guess it would be like a display refrigerator or like a convenience store refrigerator, something like that, where you could slide open either side of it. It might have been even a freezer. I rewind electric motors, so I know a little bit about what I'm doing here. And this one is a permanent capacitor type. It's got the capacitor on it here. It had a frame wrapped up around it. I got that off. It had some rubber kind of vibration dampeners on it, and I didn't really know, how good of a motor it was going to be. Like you can see here, just all of the crud and stuff where it had been laying here at the property for I don't know how long. Anyways, so put some PB Blaster on all the nuts and bolts and everything, and managed to get the front cover off. Front cover is here, and really awesome. Of course, big oiled packing inside, and a brass bushing there with this plate. Man, this thing's a monster. See here the windings. Of course, they've got the classic dirt dauber nests all over, but look at this rotor. This thing is just massive. It's got a fan, so it is a 100% duty self-cooling type of motor. Looks like it has a centrifuge type start here, where this is going to make contact with a start winding, and then as soon as it spools up to speed, it's going to snap back and release, and then it's just going to run on the main windings. But yeah, this thing is just awesome. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of blow off the work table here, since I've got all this dirt and grime and everything, and I'm going to blow out the motor frame, and then I'm going to go into the wiring. It's got an open panel, so I'll have to fabricate a panel to go on the back of it here. I'm going to scrape off. Okay, so I've cleaned off my work area here. I'm going to spray some PB on these bolt heads. See if we can get a little closer look at what we're working with here. There we go. This is a Century A66 frame. It's a half horse, 1750 RPM, so this thing's going to be spinning pretty quick. Any other Looks like we'll be pulling 7.6 amps on 120, 3.8 on 240. You can see here, looks like it was wired for, well, who knows. Until I get in there, figure it out. I don't know, but I'm getting a resistance from the two leads. It looks to be right around 5.5 ohms. So, looking at the size of these windings, I'm thinking that is probably pretty accurate. And the yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. You can never really tell until you get in there, get it cleaned up, and see what you're working with. But it looks like all of the varnish is still on the windings. Again, I'm using a plastic bristled brush to clean off the windings. You're going to have typically your start windings on the inside here, and your main windings along the outside. Man, this is exciting. I don't know why I get so excited over these stupid things, but I do. Yeah, when I popped the cover off, I mean, I was just taken aback a little bit. There's really no telling what you'll find here as far as seeing these windings burnt up, but they look like they are still well insulated, and it's just amazing how stuff like this can sit outdoors for I don't know how many years and then still be a functioning piece of equipment. Let's see what we got behind this little cover plate. Oh baby, that one's not quite ready yet. Spray a little bit more on there. You can see the vents, and while this this motor is running, it's going to be pulling in air and having air just flow right over those windings, keeping it cool. They don't make motors like this anymore. You know, they say sealed motors are more of an industrial type of motor. Well, industrial meaning being able to withstand you know, harsh environments. Like I said, this I found this thing buried in dirt, and the windings still appear to be good. So let me show you how to get this back cover off here. Get you a good strong knife. This one just happens to be a Kershaw. Probably not particularly strong, but there should be, typically it's going to be three pieces. You're going to have an end bell, a front end bell, and then the center section is going to house your actual motor. So let me first try to loosen it up a little bit here, going around the frame. There we go. I'm starting to get a little seam right there where it's starting to separate. That's good. Helping get all the dirt dauber nests broke up in there too. Also good. Okay, one other thing here I am going to do. I'm going to get this wire off of there. Looks like I got some little nuts inside of there. Let's see what I have for a nut driver. Alright, just actually picked up a new set of nut drivers. These things cost me out the nose. And it's hard to tell what you're getting in a nut driver anymore. I was hoping these were going to be a bigger through hole, and they're not. Bunch of crap. Yeah, you just never know. Wait, there we go. Alright, 5/16 is what we got here. So I'll get these off of there so they aren't hanging up coming out of there. Looks like they just wired it to go right into a junction box, maybe? I don't know. But these are brass. Look at there. That's a brass screw. Or a brass nut. Oh, I love this old stuff. Unbelievable. If this thing works, I am just going to be floored. Sitting out in the weather. I bought this place. I bought this place about 10 years ago. And there was just junk everywhere. The old man that owned the place, along with his wife, the old man had passed away about 15 years ago, I guess it'd be now. And so nothing was maintained when I got the place. And the guy was a product of the Depression, so he kept and saved everything. I mean everything. When I first got the place, it had a working hayfield on it, but it hadn't been worked in the 5 years. And I had one of the neighbors come over here ask me if he could lease the hayfield, or split the hay on the halves with me, is what we ended up doing. But a few years later, money got a little tight. We had a little drought, and he came over here wanting to see if there was any scrap metal around the property, and he ended up finding about 7 washers and dryer sets, and about 5 or 6 refrigerators. So the old man, having lived through the Depression, you know, growing up during the Depression, he was ready for another one. You know, he was always under that mentality that the Depression was going to come again, and so he was going to be prepared. So I had to work my way through the junk and everything here on the property. Okay, so now all these wires are connected inside of here. I'm going to go ahead and take a picture of that. Blow it out, maybe. Give myself a little bit of a fighting chance to be able to get this thing back together and running. May even go in there with some go in here with some electrical tape and mark these off. Okay, well it's got some lettering in there. You've got a line in. Let me just put these nuts back on here. brass posts. Okay, I'm going to have to take this off. So this one here went to line 2. Yeah, I'm going to get some electrical tape and a Sharpie, and so I can label where these went. Alright, so we've got some tape so we can label where each one of these wires went on this distribution block here. Again, it has labels on it, so we'll be able to see and then match up later to the corresponding posts. A whole lot easier than trying to figure out later where all these wires were supposed to go. Okay, so, yep. Now that I've got those loosened up, I can actually come in here with my screwdriver and take this whole plate off, which I will happily do. This is going to give me access to the rear of the stator and all of its glory, all of its rat nest. And you can see here how the contacts come into play for the centrifuge start. Oh, look at that. Isn't that lovely? Okay, so we've got our back panel off here, our back motor cover. Here's what it looks like. Again, you've got a nice big oil well with an oiler in the top there, one of those little flip levers. And again, it's a big brass bushing inside of there. I'm going to go ahead and blow it out and then run PB Blaster down in there, down in all around that bushing. And that could be a bronze, but it looks more like brass. It doesn't look like it is a oil light type of bearing. Man, this is fun. Okay, I'm going to put some more PB Blaster around this plate in the back side here. It doesn't look like I even really need to remove it, but just to clean it up a little bit, maybe get some anti-rust PB Blaster to start breaking up all that rust that was on there. Okay. Yeah, so one of the benefits of working outside here, of course, is I get to stay married. You know, if my wife, although she loves the smell of the PB Blaster, she can only take it for so long. And if I were to try and attempt something like this in a non-well ventilated area, of course my lungs would probably not work so well, and my life would probably not last as long as it could or should. Oh man, look at all this stuff in there. Good night. Shake that out on the ground. Okay. this stuff off of here. Nope, nuts. Put these back. Try to put all of our stuff back where it goes. So when we go to look for it, it's already there. One trick of the trade. When I go to put that distribution plate back together, my nuts, or I'm sorry, my bolts are going to be right where they need to be. Alright, nice clean work surface. I'm going to blow out inside of here. They say you're not supposed to use compressed air to blow on these motor windings. I don't know. I do it. Okay, compressor's shut off. We're back. I'm going to take my plastic bristled comber here. Just kind of start working all that dirt and debris out of the windings. And why I'm doing that is because all those little dirt dauber nests in there will cause hot spots in the motor and make it difficult for it to cool down. Now, I don't know what the heck that is. Is that dirt? I don't even know what that is. Good night. I guess that could have been an old dirt dauber nest. I don't even know. That is really caked on there. And typically what I'll do is I will, once I get everything loosened up in there and blown out, I'll go ahead and reseal the motor with some electrical insulating varnish. Man, that is really on there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that off of there. And it could cause a hot spot and premature failure, but I'm hoping not. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to test this insulation that looks a little shaky down here. I've got my ohm meter going to line 1, and then I'm going to test down here to the insulation, or the windings, and I'm not getting anything here. And I may just have to wait on this until I get some mineral spirits, because I really want this motor to last. another 100 years or so. But look at how beautiful that is. I mean, maybe it's just me. When I see clean motor windings like that, in the classic pattern of having your starts and your run windings and just the gigantic size of that wire. This is a half-horse motor. Really nice. At any rate, I'm going to end it there for the day. Thanks for joining me on Man Time. Stick around for the conclusion of when I get this motor all fixed up and put onto the standalone grinder, 4x24. Stick around and watch part 2.